with my friend Paul. Paul Barron, amazing. Love this guy. He's my brother from another brother. And, I have a few of those guys in the e-commerce industry. But the reason Paul and I are hanging out today is because we are both nerds about AI. And unfortunately, every time we get on a meeting together, we can't stop talking about it. And then, it's 4 hours later and we're still, yeah, I'm sure you guys can relate if you're an AI nerd like us, So Paul is, of course, speaking at the AI Summit, and I'm so stoked for Paul to share some of the stuff he's been working on. It's really cool. But before we get into that, Paul, what got you into AI? How did you start messing with this AI stuff?
Honest answer, TikTok. The agency that I run, we do a lot of work with TikTok creators. And as such, I spend way too much time, way too much time on TikTok myself. And I like to say that it's market research. We'll call it that. That's what we'll call it. But back in like November, when ChatGPT first hit the scene, everybody was like, crapping their pants about it. Like, we had been using Jasper, or, prior to this, it was Jarvis, right? And
Yep.
it was Jarvis, and my good friend Molly Mahoney, who, if you do not know her, Amy, I will introduce you. You will love her. Molly is amazing. So Molly does a lot of speaking stuff, and we had met at Conversations Conference, which was a mini chat conference a few years ago. She told me that they switched over from Jarvis to Jasper because of a lawsuit from Disney or something. So ChatGPT comes around. That was a sidebar that has nothing to do with this story. It's just adding color. So ChatGPT comes out. We'd been familiar with Jarvis, Jasper, whatever, and we were using it for like a blog idea inspiration, essentially. I think it's safe to say, well, maybe it's safe to say for you and I, but like if you're taking that straight AI written content and publishing it as a blog, it's probably not good. Just in general, because Google will start to penalize, I think, in the future for SEO. I mean, purposes, you need to have human written stuff. But fast forward November, I'm checking it out and I'm like, okay, this is super cool. So like anybody, I'm sure we all were just messing around with it. Like I was trying to push it to see how far it could go, because I've been in the chatbot space working with chatbots since 2016, right? And one of the biggest things that I had always been trying to figure out was how you can add NLP. And this is not Tony Robbins NLP, right? Not neuro linguistic programming. This is natural language processing, NLP, into chatbots. Because one of the cool things about it, like with ManyChat, right, or Messenger, is the ability that you can kind of design marketing funnels. And I was like, wouldn't it be cool if we could just have sentiment analysis? Because that's pretty straightforward. Like when you're programming something, you're programming in the world of decision trees of like positive, negative, or neutral, right? Like that's the way that my brain works. I'm not a programmer, but sometimes I think like because I have a little bit of background in that. And when you're building out computer architecture, you think positive, negative, neutral. So I was thinking, okay, how could we have this chatbot? So fast forward to November last year, I've been thinking about this, but not really delving into it too much. And I see ChatGPT and I'm like, this is amazing. Like this is something that literally has not only contextual understanding of what you're talking about, but for the most part, gives you accurate data. And I say for the most part, because ChatGPT is not designed to promote or present factually accurate data. It is only
a lot
designed.
of people don't realize that.
They don't know that.
They'll, if you're using resources that ChatGPT has given you, most likely they're made up.
Right.
I mean, the data around it could be good. The advice
Right.
that you're seeking could be good because it's based on, all of the learning that this giant artificial intelligent brain has gotten. But when it comes to actual like factual, like if you ask ChatGPT for, can you give me sources for that information? It'll just completely make up the sources.
It'll make it up. It'll like, anyway, so I'm playing around with it in November, and what the first thing that I did, Amy, this is the first thing I did just to see how far I could push it, was I had it write a opera about our brand, Bone Bell Littles, and I had it include as many poop puns as possible. And I had it written in iambic pentameter.
You're such a nerd.
Not only did I have it do 1, but I had it do 4, and then I had it do a screenplay about our brand, and the villains are it was puggies and hampers, because I didn't want to,
Guys, Paul has a brand of swim diapers, just so that you get that context.
Right. So the context is I have a brand of swim diapers. Some of our competitors are Huggies and Pampers. And we have a dunce competitor named Alva Baby. And they are, if you're watching this, thank you for constantly black hat attacking me. I appreciate that. It shows me that you know that I'm better than you. So we have Alva Baby come in as like a dunce, and Alva Baby sings a song, and it's so funny. And so we're going to take this content, like literally I had this done in November, Amy, and I've been waiting. I want to do like a whole series of like TikTok, like operas where it's like us acting them out, and it will be hilarious. So that was how I got started. After I stopped with the poop jokes, which I haven't really stopped, I just stopped doing them as much. I started looking, like delving into, okay, how can we actually practically apply this in our business? So that the next step I started doing back in like December was feeding it a whole bunch of reviews. And I was saying, okay, like based on these reviews, what are the positive attributes that you find? What are the negative attributes? And then I started not running into, but really learning more about the limitations, like, so factual accuracy. ChatGPT is not designed to be factually accurate. It is designed to basically predict the next. It's like literally bullshitting its way through life. Like it's like literally making up text. It's like thinking, well, what should I say next? It's like if you're talking to somebody who doesn't know anything about a subject, but they're really good at making you think they do. That's what ChatGPT is. So then I was like, okay, well, how can we stop that? I only want factual information. Then I started realizing that the more information I gave it, the better it got, only to a certain degree. So I was like, okay, well, you can't give it too much information because it will forget the initial thing that you asked it to do. Because there's a certain thing called token limits. A lot of people don't realize this, but whether you're using ChatGPT 3.5 or 4, there's a different amount of token limits. And a token is basically, think of it like almost characters. You have a 4,000 token limit, which is about 3,000 characters or 3,000 words, really, that you can feed it with GPT 3.5. With GPT 4, you have 8,000 tokens. Some people have 32,000. But the problem is, let's say that I'm wanting it to analyze 6,000 reviews. That's a lot of characters, like, 120,000 characters or something. And so I was feeding it all this stuff. And then what I realized was it would forget the early ones. So I started running into this issue of like, how do I fix that? How do I solve that? So I have a little bit of a background in programming, and plus the magic of YouTube and ChatGPT itself. Like I wrote a Python script to basically crunch reviews down, to summarize them. And so that's what I'm doing in my brand. I'm looking at how can we take actionable advice. And I think a lot of the stuff out there, the content that is currently existing on doing this is very well intentioned, but it's incomplete and it's inaccurate. Because
and I would agree, Paul, when you showed me behind the curtain of some of the stuff that you're working on, I really honestly couldn't believe it, because I've seen behind the curtain of a lot of software. I've played around with like the listing optimizers of some of the software that's done that. I've been in my own chats, and I have a little bit of a tech background too. And I was in my own chats and noticing the same thing. Like I would go back to that chat, but it would forget everything that I had given it earlier. And it was so accurate in the beginning, and I got all excited. And then I would pretty much just lose faith in those chats that I was using. So when you showed me what you were doing, I couldn't believe it. The results and the length of what you were able to complete with what you had built was just really incredible compared to anything else that I had seen. any of the tools, any of the new tools that people are building, any of the integrated tools. It was so complete, so neat. You actually, you applied this to my brand, and you created kind of a new listing for me. You created a customer avatar, and it was so complete, and it was actually based on context. And had I fed all of that context to ChatGPT myself, I would have run into the same issue that we were just talking about. So I love that at the summit, you're going to be talking about, first of all, showing us some of the cool things that you've been doing, but also talking about this to us, because we're going to spend 2 days at the summit, you guys, learning about how to use this in your business, how to build automations, how to, all kinds of, how to integrate this into your teams. You're going to hear from all kinds of different people that are doing this every day and are super passionate about it. And we're going to get to ask questions and everything. And then Paul's going to come in and crush your dreams. I'm just kidding. No, Paul's going to come in and he's going to show us, okay, now we've learned how to do all this automation, how to integrate this into our teams. Now let me show you what happens if you don't understand the limitations, but then also how to overcome some of these limitations in a really great way. So we're so excited to have you at the summit, Paul. And, it's going to be really exciting, I know, for everybody to see what you're doing and also to learn about this, because I know every single person out there is running into these limitations. All of us, we're so excited about these tools and we're running into these limitations, and it's really, really tough. So love it. Let me give everybody some information about the summit. You guys want to join us? Go to amazingathome.com/AI. And you can actually use Paul here's coupon code. He's going to make it easy for you to get your ticket for $49 right now with early bird pricing. So you can use code paulai. And I promise that what Paul shows you will be worth way more than the $49 you pay for your ticket. And it's going to be a virtual summit. So May 24th and 25th online, and we will have replays available. So check it out, amazingathome.com/AI, and use code PaulAI to save on your ticket. And oh, by the way, before we go, Paul, I need to ask you one very important question. Give everybody a tip that they can use today. You're one of your favorite AI tips. What's actionable for our listeners today?
Okay, so we all have Chat GPT. I'm assuming. If you don't, why are you watching this? Go, it's easy, sign up. If you're not paying the $20 a month, do that. But so with the contextualization and the concept that you're basically talking to an Alzheimer's patient that forgets the conversation perpetually, one of the things that you can do is just using Chat GPT instead of, there's two things. One, start a new conversation. Don't have every conversation in the same thread. It saves your conversation so you can start a new one, and keep your conversations contextual. And so you have your contextual conversations, right? So let's say you're doing review analysis. When you think that it might start to forget things, you can just go up the string in the conversation, then edit like what you input, right? And then re-edit, and then it goes back up, and then it doesn't forget. So that's a really quick tip that anybody can do for free if you want to, or I would pay the $20 a month, because GPT-4 is significantly better than 3.5.
Yes.
So if you're not starting new conversations, do that. Make sure they're around the same subject. Otherwise, you're going to get all kinds of weird answers. And once you have those in the same subject, you can go up the tree and then you just restart the conversation way up. And the cool thing is that it saves all the history of that previous tree. So you have multiple branches that you can go through. Super cool.
Okay. So for example, I was doing a resume the other day. I was helping my husband with resumes, and I got to the end of that conversation and I just returned to it today, and I end up re-asking the same question over again because it forgets what the earlier context was. So what I can do is I can go back up to kind of the first initial parts of the conversation. I can edit that, and it will continue from there. So then does it forget the rest of our conversation?
Yes. It overwrites it essentially. So
it's starting fresh, but with those great prompts that I had in the beginning, the quality responses that I had in the beginning.
Exactly.
That's such a good tip, Paul. That's gold. Thank you for that gold nugget today. Amazing. I love it. And Paul's going to turn me into an AI. He promised. So
Yes, I already turned myself into an AI. I'll give you the link, Amy, so you can test it out, and then I'll
okay.
build one for you.
I promise that I will ask better questions than Tim.
Tim's questions were so dumb. He was like, "This thing doesn't know anything." Well, like, you're asking it, what was the dumbest thing Paul Barron's ever done? I haven't trained it on that.
We love you, Tim Jordan. We do. All right. All right, everybody. We hope to see you at the summit. Thank you, Paul, for that amazing tip. That was so helpful. I can't wait to go try it. And we can't wait to see you at the summit. Don't forget amazingathome.com/AI and use code PaulAI to save on your ticket. We'll see you guys there. Have a great day. Bye.